All right, so I've been teaching for a while, and I've been at this side of 18 years now. Oh, no, 17. I can't even do math, but been at it for 17 years, and there's still things that I hear in golf, and when people come in that drive me mad that it exists. That's not the student that drives me mad. It's the fact that this idea still exists in golf instruction. So what I want to do is start talking about those things and why they aren't true. They're not good pieces of advice that you get, and you shouldn't work on them because it's probably going to make you worse. Hey everybody, Scott Hogan coming at you. We're here in the studio. We're talking about bad advice. Bad advice. We could go for years on this one, I'm pretty sure. But the big thing that we want to do is help you understand how some of these bad advice things, I hear it all the time, and people are struggling and they say, oh, it's because I didn't do this. Well, actually, it's because you are doing that you are struggling. And those things exist all over the game. And like I said in the intro, if these were to go away, we'd probably be overall better off in golf as far as getting better and improving our swings and stuff. So we'll go into a lot of these throughout this series, and we're going to start with number one today. Before we do that, though, make sure you click that subscribe button. We're going to have more on the Sunday round. We have more rounds. A new course that actually I just downloaded yesterday. I'm pretty sure it's new because it just popped up on my E6. So I'm excited to try that this week. Looks like a lot of fun. And we'll have more with helping you practice, improve, use your launch monitors, your at-home setups, or any practice setup you do to improve. So don't miss out on that. All right, so let's get into tips that will absolutely ruin your game. And these are the things that drive coaches mad. And honestly, these are the things that keep us in business because they still exist. And I guess I want them to go away because I want people to get better. And that's always my thing, but there's so much down the road that you can get better at. If we could just get rid of these ideas, we would be so much better off. So number one thing that you shouldn't do is keep your head down, okay? If you're thinking, hey, I didn't keep my head down, that is not gonna be the answer, okay? It's probably because you're keeping your head down or trying to that is causing you a problem. It really is. It's just the worst piece of advice because you have to think about some of the anatomy of what's going on, but you also have to think about what's going on as far as what we're trying to do in a golf swing. So what happens when you keep your head down? Well, the first thing is if I start keeping my head down, I start locking up my neck and then my shoulders actually get tense. And then when I physically put my head down, I actually get my head in the way of my shoulders. So now I can't really turn and I've got a problem. The only thing I would be able to do is actually turn my whole body and move my head and get into a really weird, awkward position as we go through. So the idea is that we actually want to keep our head more up. And as we go through a swing, we're actually going to see it most likely rise a lot throughout a swing. We will probably see it work its way up through a swing. It's not super often that as we're striking the ball that we see a head going down. Okay, so that's something that we don't want to see in a swing. Now, why would it look like, or why would people think, hey, I do need that head to stay down? Well, when we look at certain impacts of people that are hitting the golf ball, these are usually tour players. You usually can see like, hey, look, their head is right on the ball. They're looking right down at the ball. But for them to be able to do that, they actually need a lot of flexibility in their neck because their head isn't staying still. It's not staying down. It's actually going ahead and just letting its shoulders rotate, and they're actually moving their head to be able to keep it looking at the ball. They're rotating their neck here, right? Their spine and their neck, right? So they're rotating that, and they're being able to look at the ball. So for us, what I like to see people do is try to keep that chin high. Now, if you're somebody that you don't feel like, hey, I can actually do that, perfectly okay. I'm not particularly good at that either. We have plenty of examples, Hall of Famers, of people that do not keep their head down. Their head is moving up. It's looking actually way out in front of the golf ball as they hit. Annika Sorenstam, David Duval come to mind right off the bat. Two of the best ball strikers that we've ever seen. Those are two great examples of people that say, hey, I don't need to still look at the ball to be able to make good contact. And my head can move up, it can move out. That's always a really good thing. The other thing that starts happening too is when you keep your head down, you're not going to be able to finish with any type of rotation. You're not going to be able to rotate on your backswing. All of those things that kill power, they kill accuracy. Really, really a bad thing. And then the last thing is where I see people start talking about keeping their head down is it usually comes down to contact. Well, what happens is they typically hit the ball really fat and they'll say, oh, I didn't keep my head down. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because when you keep your head down, you start crunching everything in. Your goal in golf, when you want to hit the ball really solid, is you should feel like you have a ton of room to make impact. Most golfers actually move farther away from the ball than when they started, okay? They're getting space from the ball. That is something that you can't do if you start crunching everything in. You're never going to be able to make this work. So you want to be thinking about getting a lot of space. If you're keeping your head down, you have no space. So you're going to hit the ground a lot. You're going to then kind of figure something out and say, I don't like that. And then you start popping yourself up to avoid the ground. Then you start topping it. And in reality, what you need to do to make better contact is, I love to see people actually free that head up. I'll let them turn it all day and just feel how they can turn everything and see that they can still make good contact with the ball. That usually works out really well, and they start to get faster, they make better contact, so the ball goes farther, and they're hitting it straighter. It all works out really good. So head down, it's not the reason that you hit a bad shot. It's probably the opposite. It actually is making you hit a bad shot. So we don't want to do it. You talk to really any instructor that does a good job with teaching. They're not going to tell you to keep your head down. They might have you do some things that make it look like your head stays down, but they're never going to explicitly say, hey, you got to keep your head down. That's why you didn't hit that ball good. It isn't what happens. So that's the first tip right there. If you can avoid that piece of advice, get rid of that from your golf mind, thinking that that's something you have to do, you're going to be way better off. You're going to start to hit better shots, better contact, and you're going to avoid a lot of problems that can come along with it. So that's our goal. We want to eradicate that from the golfing world. Keeping your head down, it's not what we want to do. So thanks everybody for watching. Let us know pieces of advice down in the comments below that you've had that you think just don't work, because I would love to start ridding the world of these bad pieces of advice so people do not continue to struggle with their games. Thanks everybody for watching. Click that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already, and we'll see you in the next video.